in my domain. Got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane. It's over before you know it. While you shaking, we're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty. Now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to one of the most historic racetracks on the circuit as we get ready to go racing at the home to not only the Indianapolis 500, but the Brickyard 400, which we will be seeing here tomorrow as we get ready for race number 2 of round 1 of Season 4 Pizza Hut X Series Chase for the championship. Getting ready to go racing here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 24 laps of racing. This will be the race that sets us up to our elimination race, our first elimination race of the playoffs next week. And we've got some drivers that had a pretty decent showing at Chicagoland last week, but we have a number of drivers that are down near the danger zone, which would basically be 9th through 12th in the point standings. They're going to try and get themselves out of those 4 positions here today. And of course, if we have a playoff contender go to victory lane, then that is going to be an automatic ticket into the round of 8, regardless of what happens here today and next week at our elimination race at Kentucky. You heard correctly. Kentucky is going to be our elimination race. We're going to have truck racing and Hershey's Cup Series racing next week from Oswego. That'll also be the Truck Series elimination race of their first round. But the first elimination race of the playoffs for the Pizza Hut X Series drivers will be at Kentucky. There's a couple of other changes to the schedule. I'll let you know what those are in a little bit. But let's take a look at our front row here today. Now, one season ago, these two drivers would have been decked out with playoff contingencies. But 1 year later, C Ericsson and A Baranauskas not only in the playoffs, but both also looking for their first win of the season. Last year, C Ericsson was a 2-time winner, finished out the season 3rd overall in the point standings, and A Baranauskas had a win last year and finished in 7th in the playoff standings. But both of them this season not in the playoffs and both trying to find their first trip to victory lane. Highest starting playoff driver looks like going to be C Llamas, rolling off from the 4th position with C Roush right behind him in 5th. And it looks like 7th place is going to be M McIntire. Our winner last week at Chicagoland, Eli Bright, looking for 2 in a row as he'll start on the outside of row 3 in the 6th position. Now, coming into this race, the drivers that are in the danger zone that really need a good run would include the likes of D Shears, A Eisestein, C Dollerton, and Carson Gump. So we'll keep tabs on those 4 drivers, see if they can make any forward progress here today. So let's go down and get that command to fire them up.
Drivers, start your engines.
Command given. And as the Chevy Corvette pace car will lead this 42-car field around, we will give you your playoff points coming into this race, presented by Golden Corral. Jordan Lopez right now the points leader, 2 points in hand over M McIntire. 10 points out is 3rd in the standings Dean Canario, and 12 points out is Mark Davidson. Joshua Osborne is 5th in the standings. 6th place is Seth Cole. C Llamas in 7th. And right now in that critical 8th position is 2-time winner Scott Roush. Now, Scott Roush is the driver that the other 4 are going to be trying to at least try and beat here today at Indianapolis to get into the top 8 in the point standings. So we'll use him as a cutoff line. 7 points behind the cutoff line is 8th in the standing, or 9th in the standing, I should say. That is D Shears. A Eisestein in 10th. She is 9 points behind the cut line. 11 points behind the cut line is 11th in the standings Chris Dollerton, and Carson Gum is 14 points behind the cut line in 12th place. 24 laps of racing here at Indianapolis. It's going to take them a little bit of time to get around this racetrack each and every lap. Plenty of time for drivers to be able to make moves, but the big trouble spot is especially over here in 3 and 4. You'll notice they head here into turn 3, and then there's like an inner loop, a small straightaway before you get to turn 4. Drivers carry a lot of speed down the back straightaway into this corner, and right in this area, drivers have a hard time finding grip. A lot of drivers slide up into the wall. When they come back down, they sweep up drivers to the inside wall, and then they all sweep back up the track here into the entrance of turn 4. So this is one of the most critical places for drivers to tiptoe their way through and not get involved in a wreck. And keep in mind, for a lot of drivers that are down there 9th through 12th in points, they come away with a DNF today, they will probably be in a must-win situation heading into next week's race at Kentucky. Here we go, C Ericsson and A Baranauskas. It's an all-female front row as they'll lead us down here to the green flag in Indianapolis. Let's roll. Ericsson with a nice run out of turn 2. Looked like D Olson might look to the left rear quarter panel for the lead, but Ericsson able to hold him off at least for the moment. And here comes Scott Roush in the 38 in a battle for third place with Baranauskas. Here they come into this critical turn 3. Looks like they might have gotten through it okay. Let's see if the lights are still green. No, I think they had a wreck. Yep, there's a big split back there, and the caution flag is indeed out. As they race back to the yellow, C Ericsson will bleed them there, and boy, there's a big gap from about the midway point of this field on back there to, looks like that was the 0 of Patrick Curtis was the last car in this lead group, and then everybody else is just gone, and I think it's safe to assume we had a big wreck over there in that turn 3 vicinity. And now comes the big question mark. Who of the playoff drivers were involved? And how much of an effect is this going to make on the playoff standings, depending on playoff drivers if they did get collected. Pit road will be open this time. I don't know if they'll come to pit road under this caution or not. I'm not really sure what the fuel window is for these drivers, but let's take a look and see. As the 19 of Justin Tucker, our Bristol winner, he was involved. A lot of front-end damage on his Toyota. Joshua Hyatt was in it. Not seeing many playoff drivers up near the rear of the field here, though. Mason Wood, Jake Rogers, a lot of damage for Charles Jackson, Garrett Sydnor, Phil Parker. Can't tell who that car is back behind them there. Oh, that's Jay Jefferson in the 08. I do see Seth Cole back here. Oh, he's got damage. A lot of right side damage, and a buckle on the right rear as he's driving through the smoke where the incident was. Z Flickinger got involved. Can't tell if Navarro's got damage or not. Cole Deaver looks like he got involved. And Nathan Hudson also coming to pit road. There's Ian Canario in the 6. He's back around a lot of these damaged cars, but doesn't look like he got involved in anything. Same for Joshua Osborne there, as well as the 29 of Mark Davidson. So I think at first glance, the only playoff driver that may have gotten involved in the wreck is the 66 of Seth Cole, who came into this race 6th in the playoff points. Let's follow him as he pulls into his stall and see if they're going to be able to get that car repaired. Looks like they're going to try to get him out there and salvage whatever points he can, but for the most part, looks like mostly it was non-playoff contenders that got involved in the wreck over in turn 3. So, as C Ericsson leads us under our first caution, let's take a look at a replay. Well, here's the very easy explanation why. Up front, they were double wide, minding their P's and Q's. Back here in the middle of the pack, they decided to go 3 wide. There's just no way you can make 3 wide work here in the tight turns 3 and 4. Garrett Sydnor crowds Joshua Hyatt up into Seth Cole, so Seth Cole got the brunt of that impact into the wall. He then gets nailed from Justin Tucker. That shoots Tucker straight up the racetrack. Flickinger going to sweep up there as well. And watch back here, some of your playoff contenders. Little contact there for Joshua Osborne. Mark Davidson with a little bit of a rub into Mason Wood. I think Ian Canario got through there relatively unscathed. Nice job by him. There you see Jay Jefferson get swept up in it. Phil Parker, I think, might have been able to stop in time along with Jake Rogers. I think they might be okay. Let's take an onboard with the 6 car. Started this race from the 37th position, but he's going to pick up some spots getting through this wreck. Let's watch. Wow, close call there. You saw Nathan Hudson got into Mason Wood, and also Charles Jackson got swept up in that as well. Caution's out for the first time here today. Let's go back to the green flag. And the results of that first wreck, we'll see an early departure by 3 drivers, all non-playoff contenders. Charles Jackson, Garrett Sydnor, and Justin Tucker will finish 40th, 41st, and 42nd here today, leaving us 39 drivers still running and all on the lead lap. Chloe Ericsson will restart as the leader as the lights are out atop the pace car with Daniel Olson in 2nd. 3rd place is going to be Scott Roush with Matt McIntire 4th. 5th is Diego Yepez. A Baranauskas slipped back to 6th. Carson Gumbs 7th. 8th, D Shears, 9th. Right now it's Cody Llamas, and Jordan Lopez completes the top 10. So that gives us, at this current point in time, 6 playoff contenders up inside of the top 10. 3rd, 4th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Let's find out where the other 6 drivers are going to be restarting. You got to go down quite a ways before you find Chris Dollerton. He will restart in 20th. A Eisestein rather in 22nd. Joshua Osborne back in 24th. Mark Davidson in 26th. Got through the wreck. Restarting 28th will be Ying Canario. And I believe the last car is Seth Cole in 38th place for this restart. So it's going to be a single file restart. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they don't attempt 3 wide into turn 3 again, and it'll take them a little bit of time here to start getting doubled back up here. But we're going to have still quite a ways to go as well in this race. When the green flag comes back out, there's going to be 19 laps remaining. As the green's back in the air, Chloe Ericsson gets us back underway. Mentioned that last year Chloe Ericsson was a 2-time winner. None of her wins came during the playoffs. Her last win was at Phoenix, her first win of the season. Or I'm sorry, that was her first win of the season. Her last win was at... Or I'm sorry, no, that was her last win. Her first win was one of the heat races at Bristol Dirt. We have only one former winner. Wow, that was close back there for second as there's trouble in the back again. We've got another wreck in turn 3. It was nearly at the front of the field here, and I think it happened back around 10th place. Caution's out again. I was going to say we got only one former winner in this field at Indianapolis. That was J Shelly, who won here back in season 2, and that was actually a win that got him into the round of the Elite 8 in the playoffs that season. The other 2 winners are in the Truck Series this season. Season 1, the inaugural winner was Nick Johnson, the former Truck Series champion, and last year it was Patrick Curtis. Both those drivers are battling for the Truck Series championship this season. Let's see who was involved in this one. Looks like Jay Jefferson was caught up in it again, and a playoff contender in Jordan Lopez, who came into this race as the points leader in the playoff standings. Last week's winner, Eli Bright, was collected in this as well. And J Shelly, we were just talking about him, the only defending winner at this track. Looks like he was swept up in this one, and something tells me that this might have started between the 34 and the 71. Because both of those cars were running up towards the front of the field. Lopez is out of the race, and the leaders are coming to pit road. As a matter of fact, the entire field is going to come to pit road. So this says to me, this is the only pit stop they're going to have to make to be good to go on fuel the rest of the way. But that is huge for Jordan Lopez. Now, if we use the driver that's 8th in the point standings as a guideline, Lopes came into this race 24 points ahead of 8th in the standings, which was his teammate Scott Roush. So he had a little bit of a buffer with his good run last week at Chicagoland. However, this, depending on how the other playoff contenders run today, this could put Lopes in a very interesting situation heading into next week's race at Kentucky, as it's gas and go for Chloe Ericsson. She's just barely going to beat out the 38 of Scott Roush, so it looks like she will restart as our race leader. Let's go back and see what happened to put us under caution for the second time here today at Indianapolis. Well, let's start it back here in the entrance to turn 3 and see what exactly happens. It's actually the 12 of Eli Bright on the inside of Jordan Lopes. And watch the 60 of Steve Morgan. Is he going to try to go 3 wide there? Yes, he is. 3 Ford Mustangs in a 3 wide situation, and the contact between Morgan and Bright sends Bright crowding Lopes up into the wall. And there's just nowhere to go for the 71 of J Shelly. Bright's going to slide up and into the wall. Lopes up into Shelly. And does everybody else get through this? Wow, Shelly got some air right there. I think everyone else might have gotten through this, which is quite unusual with the tight turns we have here. I'm watching the 70 of Osborne sideswiping James Shelly, but he just barely got through. Yikes. It looks like oh, nope, I thought everyone got through it. Jay Jefferson and Seth Cole with some contact. Let's rewind it back just a little bit, see how those two got swept up. Were they in a separate incident? Nope. And it's going to be Jefferson getting into the back, well, actually, no, rather the front of Lopes. And right there, that contact might have been what took Lopes out of this race. Jefferson spins around right in front of Seth Cole. Seth Cole with a little bit more damage on the front of his M&M's Pirates of the Caribbean Camaro. And that shot from Jefferson may have been the death knell that took Lopes out of this race. He might have been able to continue had he not had the contact in the front area of his machine. That's where a lot of your engine parts are, a lot of your hoses, electrical stuff. So, boy, so our first playoff driver out of the race here at Indianapolis looks like it's going to be the guy that came into this race as the points leader. Let's line them back up, get ready to go back racing here at Indy. Well, they're continuing to pile up in the garage area. A total of 5 drivers out of the race now with the recent additions of Jordan Lopes and Jay Jefferson. So Lopes, the first playoff driver to retire out of the race here today. He'll finish officially in the 38th position. Eli Bright, James Shelly, they've continued on. Seth Cole, I don't think did a whole lot of repairing on his car. He's still running, so let's line him up for you once again after that pit stop. We got a couple of new faces up here inside of the top 10 as Chloe Ericsson still the leader. Scott Roush jumped up to 2nd. Diego Yepez to 3rd. Daniel Olson lost a number of spots on pit road. He's back to 4th place now. 5th place is M McIntire. A Baranauskas in 6th. Steve Morgan 7th. William Brock's now up in 8th. 9th place is Cody Llamas. Top 10 is Carson Gum. So right now, Carson is the only one of the drivers that came into this race in the bottom 4 that is in the top 10 right now, trying to get himself up into the Elite 8. Dougie Shears, though, is in 11th, so he's another of those 4 drivers that's having a decent outing. Mark Davidson's now up to 14th place. Aubrey Eisestein, never gonna get that, never gonna get those two unmixed up. But Eisestein restarts in 17th. Canario is up in 21st. Dollerton still back there in 28th. 29th is Seth Cole. And right now, the furthest running back playoff driver that's still running is Joshua Osborne back in 34th place. The green flag is back in the air. We've got 14 laps to go. Here comes Scott Roush to the inside of Chloe Ericsson. First battle for the lead here today. Roush, a 2-time winner this season. He and Nathan Hudson, the only 2 drivers that have found victory lane multiple times this year. But more importantly, Roush is a playoff contender. He wants to get a win here so he can head into Kentucky knowing he's going to make it into the round of 8. Let's see if they can get through turn 3 this time without wrecking. So long as they don't go 3 wide. Listening intently to see if I hear anybody wrecking. I didn't hear anybody. Oh, I think they did wreck, though. Yes, they did. There was a gap back behind the 6 of Canario, and they have wrecked again in turn 3. Caution for the 3rd time today. And I believe we have only gotten a total of 3 laps in under green flag conditions so far. It's turning into a race of survival, it seems. But Scott Roush was able to get the lead from C Ericsson, who slipped all the way back to 8th on that run. And now Roush, the only driver in the playoffs right now here today that's going to get a bonus point for leading a lap. Let's see who got swept up in this one. It looks like it was a wreck actually not only in 3 but also out of turn 4. James Qualls on pit road along with Cole Deaver in the 15. James Shelly was caught up in this one again. Oh, and it looks like the other driver out of Joanna Atwood Motorsports was swept up in this one. Joshua Osborne becomes the 3rd playoff contender to find problems here. And that's a lot of front-end damage. He may be the 2nd retiree of our playoff contenders here today. Joshua Hyatt. A lot of damage on his car. He already was caught up in our first caution and gets caught up in this one as well, it appears. But the most important car right now, right there, we're looking at him, Joshua Osborne. He came into this race 5th in the point standings. Caution is out for the 3rd time here today. Let's go back and see what happened. Well, we almost didn't have a caution. The wreck actually starts on the exit of turn 3, but it never actually happens until the exit of turn 4. Watch here as the 16 of Jake Rogers goes up, way up into that safer barrier, bounces off the wall down into James Qualls, back up into the wall, back down into Qualls, Qualls down into Navarro, Rogers up in front of Hudson, and up to this point they have it saved. They're all still keeping it together. Chris Dollerton splitting this gap as he's going to make his way through. And up to this point, they had it saved, so there was no caution at this point in time. But then you get up here to the exit of turn 4. Angel Navarro trying to gather his race car back up in front of some drivers, and Nathan Hudson nowhere to go. He gets up into the wall. At this point, still have it saved, and then Jake Rogers gets run into from, I think that was Joshua Osborne and Cole Deaver, and the 70's the one that goes around, so that's what brought the caution out. And then there you see Joshua Hyatt and James Shelly nowhere to go. Qualls comes to pit road as the 92 spins around, the 70 spins around. I think he may have gotten a little bit more contact, maybe from the 12 of Eli Bright, who then gets into the 92 of Joshua Hyatt. There's Deaver, and James Shelly's car actually got stuck in the pit road entrance wall as it slid rear deck lid first into that. So it looks like James Shelly will definitely not be a 2-time winner here at Indianapolis. There is Deaver, and there is Osborne. I don't know if they're going to be able to get that car fixed, just get him out there and salvage a finish or not, but we'll find out in just a moment. As we're under caution for the 3rd time here at Indianapolis, the big question here today is, will we get a green flag run-in? It's not looking like that's going to be the case. We just completed our 14th lap. 11 of those 14 laps have been run under the caution. Only 3 laps total have been run under green flag conditions, and those were the 3 laps that initially started this race and our 2 past restarts. When we go back green, there will be 9 laps remaining, and I'm not exactly all that hopeful that we're going to run those remaining 9 laps under green flag conditions, but drivers that will not be receiving that green flag out of the race after this one include Eli Bright, Joshua Hyatt, as well as Joshua Osborne, James Shelly, and Cole Deaver. So 2 playoff contenders up to this point out of the race. Osborne will finish 35th, Lopes in 38th. Lopes was the points leader coming to this one. Osborne was 5th. And Osborne was only 4 points ahead of 8th in the standings. The driver that came in 8th in the standings, Scott Roush, rising to the occasion. He's the race leader over Diego Yepez, Daniel Olson, M McIntire, A Baranauskas. Then it's William Brock, Cody Lamas, C Ericsson, Steve Morgan, and Jessica Miles now completing the top 10. Carson Gumbs in 11th. Eisestein 14th, Shears in 15th. Canario is 20th. Dollerton continuing to pick up spots with these wrecks. He's up to 24th now. Seth Cole is in 30th. And Mark Davidson is in 32nd. He was on pit road under that last caution. He's the last car in the lead lap. Green flag back in the air with 9 laps to go. Single file all the way through this field. I wouldn't mind if they ran single file for the last 8 laps and then decided to go double wide on the white flag lap. Ryan George making a move back there. That's for the 11th spot on Carson Gum as the top 10 remain single file. Now they're going to start breaking into a double wide battle for the 3rd position. Matt McIntire to the inside of Daniel Olson as we have a battle for the lead. Also up here, Diego Yepez to the inside of Scott Roush for the top spot. And I think we got through it. Yes, we did. We got through. We will complete another green flag lap as Roush on the outside line holds on to the top spot for the moment, but Yepez down on the bottom tries to slide up in front on the exit of turn 1, and he does. 3 wide now for 2nd. Brock McIntire, and they're in the wall! Hard hit for Scott Roush. And he's flipping in the middle of the pack. Yepez gets away with the lead. Llamas in 2nd. Big wreck on the exit of turn number 2. 4th caution flies here at Indianapolis. Diego Yepez, former winner this season from Daytona, will lead us down to our 4th caution of the day. And that one involved a number of playoff drivers, I know for sure. I think I just saw Ying Canario on pit road. Seth Cole was on pit road. We know that Scott Roush flipped over. I believe Matt McIntire was caught up in that. And that may just have scratched the surface of the playoff contenders involved in this one. I'm seeing some right side damage on Cody Llamas, who got through the wreck, but apparently not unscathed. Matt McIntire crossed the line in 6th place, so apparently he got through relatively unscathed as well. There's left side damage on Jessica Miles, war wounds on drivers that managed to sneak through the wreck, but did not entirely get away without some sort of damage. And there's a lot of cars on pit road. Chelsea Bowles on pit road. Our winner from Hillside, Angel Navarro. Ryan George, Mark Davidson, Seth Cole. Those are 2 playoff contenders right there. William Brock, our pole sitter. Chloe Ericsson was involved. Chris Dollerton, another playoff contender. Lot of damage on his machine. Hudson, I think, was in it. Rogers looks like he was in it. Mason Wood with damage. I thought I saw Canario on pit road. Apparently that was not the case. I think maybe I mistook his car for the 29 of Mark Davidson. Woods coming to pit road. For some reason, Dollerton is not. How is the one car not coming to pit road? Well, then again, when you look at it, he's got only basically left side damage. I thought he had a lot of rear end damage, but maybe it's just the left side of his car. But Seth Cole and Mark Davidson, I don't think they'll be continuing. Davidson came into this race 4th in points, Seth Cole 6th. It was 12 points from Davidson to 8th in the standings, and it was 2 points from Seth Cole to 8th in points. And I believe already out of the race is the 38 of Scott Roush, who came into this race in the 8th position in points. As we're under caution, we will get back green with Diego Yepez out in front, but for now, let's go back and take a look at a replay of our 4th caution of the day. Big wreck out of turn number 2. Alright, watch this develop going into turn 1. We're watching the 62 of William Brock. It's going to be himself, Daniel Olson to his outside, and the car just ahead of them, the 9 of Matt McIntire. Now, it's going to be how they exit out of turn number 1 here that's going to cause this. I think right there, that contact between Yepez and Roush may have been a little bit of the start of it, as the 38 had to kind of check up. Yepez trying to slide up and take the race lead from Scott Roush. Now, you see right there, Matt McIntire moves up, drives it down deep into turn 2. William Brock is already to his inside, and it might have actually been on the 9 of McIntire the reason that this wreck happened. I think he's right down on the door of the 62. And then the 38 also kind of pinches down as well. That is a hard hit for William Brock. Immediately, the 38 of Scott Roush goes up and onto the wall. There was contact back there between, I think that was Jessica Miles and Scott Roush. That's how the 25 got her damage. And then just watch this. Everyone just piles in trying to avoid the flipping 38. Olson up and into the wall. That's Ryan George spinning down the inside there. He's going to get shot from, that was Dougie Shears in the 7, another playoff contender. And then Shears also going to hit William Brock. Ben Braley gets swept up. And just try and find your car and see if you get through. There's Dollerton back there. He ran into the back of his teammate Phil Parker. Chloe Ericsson gets jacked up by Mark Davidson. That flips her upside down. Carson Gum got a piece of it as he gets into the 62 of William Brock. Chelsea Bowles back there in the 31. You can just barely see her. Oh, wow, and then Z Flickinger flies in and nails Davidson. Oh, and look back there as that was Seth Cole. I don't know if he got spun or if he was on the brakes, but he literally slid sideways into the wreck and got into, I think it was a combination of Ben Braley and Chris Dollerton. A lot of damage on Phil Parker leaving the scene of the accident. I think Nathan Hudson just came to a dead stop. He was probably the smartest driver behind that wreck. So let's get back there again. There's Shears. He's blown up. So Shears looks like he won't finish out the race. So he's probably going to be in a must-win situation heading into Kentucky. That's Angel Navarro back there. His car blown up. Let's take some onboards with some of our playoff contenders that got swept up here in this big one out of turn 2. Let's start with the 7 of Dougie Shears. Tried going low and just could not avoid the drivers drifting down. Got into Ryan George as well as William Brock, and there you see the smoke erupting from underneath that Chevrolet. Like that Little Caesars pizza's been left in the oven a little too long. It's burning. Up next, Chris Dollerton, number 1. Dollerton got hit from behind, actually. Oh, wow. And there's where Seth Cole comes flying in. I don't know who it was that hit the 1. What? I can say. What did he come to stop and he got hit from behind? Of course, gets clobbered by the 66 or 7. Up next, the 29, Mark Davidson. Flying in, and it was his shot that flips over the 46 of Chloe Ericsson. And last but not least, the 38 of Scott Roush. Car gets back on all 4 wheels, going in the right direction, and National Broadway drives on. Perfectly fair on Scott Roush. There really was nothing he could do in that situation. He was on the outside of a 3 wide, and when that happens, you're at the mercy of the drivers underneath there. So many playoff drivers were looking like they were going to have a good points day here at Indianapolis, and in a matter of a couple of corners, they find themselves back behind the wall. There's only 20 cars still running in this race, all of them still on the lead lap. But out of the race now include the cars of Dougie Shears. He'll finish 21st, so I think he's in a must-win situation heading into Kentucky. Maybe the same for Scott Roush, who finishes 22nd today. Chloe Ericsson will be 23rd. William Brock in 24th. Ryan George 25th. 26th is going to be Ben Braley. Chelsea Bowles in 27th, Phil Parker 28th, Angel Navarro in 29th, Chaser Mark Davidson will finish in 30th, Z Flickinger out in 31st, and 32nd, Seth Cole. As the green flag's back in the air, and we have 3 laps to go here at Indianapolis. Will we finish it under green? Right now, Seth Cole, Scott Roush, D Shears, they're in a very precarious position heading into next week as D Yepez, looking to be a 2-time winner this season, shows the way. You've got a couple of cars with some damage behind him, Cody Llamas and Jessica Miles, a couple of teammates there out of ML Motorsports. Can they get up there and challenge the 21? Field spreading out quite a bit here due to the fact of a lot of wounded race cars, as battle's going to be for second place. Jessica Miles to the inside of Cody Llamas, can't make the move. Llamas on the high side hangs on to the spot. Now, we mentioned that some drivers that were playoff contenders looked like they were going to have good points today. Well, that still holds true for some drivers. You got Cody Llamas, he's up here in second place for the moment. Go a little bit further back, M McIntire holding on to 10th place. 11th right now, Ying Canario. 12th, Aubrey Eisestein. Carson Gum back, I think, right now in the 15th position. Then you go back here, it's not going to be a great points day, but at least it'll be something. Chris Dollerton, last time by, scored in the 19th spot. And if we have another wreck, there may be more spots he can pick up, as here comes Alex Gray to the inside in the 0. 1 year ago, the 0 went to victory lane with Patrick Curtis behind the wheel here in Indianapolis. It was the second of Curtis's back-to-back wins when he started off the playoffs with victories at Chicagoland and Indy. As the white flag was just displayed for D Yepez, the battle is on for second. Contact there between Steve Morgan and Alex Gray. Whoa! Cody Llamas with a big run there out of turn 2. Almost got into the left rear quarter panel of the 0 as Yepez is running away. He's got about 7-8 car lengths in hand over the rest of the field. Let's make sure they make it through turn 3. Okay, they did. But out of turn 4, D Yepez will become the third 2-time winner this season. He won earlier this year at Daytona. He'll take the checkered flag and kiss the yard of bricks here today at Indianapolis. And for the second straight week, a Srigley Motorsports driver goes to victory lane, and more importantly, a non-playoff contender goes to victory lane. Bright did it last week at Chicagoland. Yepez does it this week at Indianapolis, and it becomes the 5th overall win for the Srigley Motorsports team. They now have 2 with Yepez, 2 with Hudson, and 1 with Eli Bright. Great day for ML Motorsports, though. They're going to come away with 3rd, 4th, and 6th. And Steve Morgan so close. The rookie points leader trying to get his first win of the season, but not going to get it here today. As a matter of fact, he's going to finish 2nd. Alex Gray's going to finish 3rd, and those 2 are 2 of the prime contenders battling for Rookie of the Year honors, both separated by 7 points, 1st and 2nd in Rookie of the Year standings. Race is official now. Yepez credited with the win. Apparently he's very good at the fast race tracks because he won at the Super Speedway of Daytona for his first career win, and now he wins here at the very fast Indianapolis. Morgan will finish 2nd, Gray in 3rd, Llamas in 4th, and Kyle Langeland popped up there in the closing stages for a top 5 run. Nice run for his Dodge Challenger. You could tell there was uncertainty in me knowing whether to say Charger or Challenger. Jessica Miles going to bring it home in 6th. Quentin Moore, nice run for him in 7th. Baranauskas will get 8th. Ashlyn Boyd popped up into the top 10 late for a 9th place run, and M McIntire will finish in 10th place. It looks like the drivers that are going to get the maximum points, or at least some really good points here today, will be Llamas in 4th, McIntire 10th, Canario 11th, Eisestein 12th, and Carson Gum in 15th. Chris Dollerton going to finish in 19th place. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get him out of the danger zone or not. D Shears, I think, will still be in the danger zone, even though he gets 21st. Look further down for the rest of our playoff contenders. Scott Roush was 22nd in the finishing results. He was kind of the driver that most of the drivers behind him had to kind of compare themselves to, like Eisestein and Dollerton and Gum. They're going to make up some ground, but not a whole lot. If you look on further down, and this is where the big story is, where this is really probably going to shake up the point standings, as you have Mark Davidson out of the race in 30th, Seth Cole in 32nd, Osborne in 35th, and the guy who came into this race as the points leader of the playoff standings, Jordan Lopez, finishes out of the race in 38th position. Certainly a caution fest here at Indianapolis, and the home of the Yard of Bricks definitely playing a factor into what the playoff battle will be for the drivers trying to make it into the round of 8 next week in our first elimination race at Kentucky. But thank you all for tuning into today's race. J Yepez picks up his second career win of the Pizza Deck Series here today. He and that number 21 team will be kissing the Yard of Bricks in the victory ceremony momentarily. If you enjoyed today's race, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to get part of the crew today. We have shown you your full figure results. These are your rookie points, your overall points, and your playoff points heading into next week at Kentucky. We still have to finish out this week here events with the running of the Brickyard 400 tomorrow, our Hershey's Cup Series race. It'll be the Hershey's Cup Series, I believe, their first elimination race of this playoffs. So we will be determining who will be moving on to the round of 12 and whose playoffs will be coming to an early end. And then the following week, we've got 3 races, but at 2 different venues. We'll have our first elimination race of the Truck Series at Oswego. We will have our first elimination race of the Pizza Deck Series, but it'll be at Kentucky. And then we start off round number 2 of the playoffs at Oswego for the Hershey's Cup Series. But till then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the Brickyard 400.